Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man, his name is John Pittman III, and he tried to go to Bank of America with a check, and they accused him of stealing and didn't believe the check belonged to him. Now, he's a Black attorney in San Diego. You know, this almost reminds me of the racial profiling that was done by state troopers in the state of New Jersey back in the 90s and early part of 2000. The state troopers were, and it made national news. They were heavily pulling over Black drivers, and Black drivers were getting beaten. Some got killed, and it went on for years. Well, the reason why it had calmed down is because they pulled over a Black lawyer, and they did all of those same things to him, harassed him. They physically beat this guy. He ended up taking the state to court, and he won. After that happened, things calmed down a lot. I mean, people were still getting pulled over, but not at the numbers they were getting pulled over prior to that lawyer stopping. So you would be surprised how when they do this to, a Black lawyer or a Black judge, how it can have a rippling effect. So let's get into this story, y'all. So this came out on kpbs.org, July 26, 2021. San Diego man says he experienced banking while Black in local Bank of America branch. Now, Bank of America, man, I'm not even surprised. I won't even bank with them. John Pittman III gave up trying to cash a $12,000 insurance settlement check at a Bank of America in Pacific Beach early last year after the branch manager accused him of trying to steal the money and told him she had called the police. That's all they ever do. You know how easy it is for a bank to verify funds? That's all this person had to do. But I guess you're too pathetically lazy to do your job. I'm thinking this would not have happened if I wasn't a Black person, said Pittman, who lives in downtown San Diego and is an attorney. Black customers have long complained of being confronted by skepticism, hurls, and calls to police while seeking basic transactions from banks. Pittman and other Black people say the experiences have left them shaken and worried that if they advocate for themselves, their own safety is at risk. Bank Black. Put your money in Black banks. You don't have to stay at Bank of America, especially if they're not treating you right. One United, there's Black banks that you can go to. Pittman went to the branch on Garnett Avenue and attempted to cash the $12,000 check made out to him in January 2020 from the insurance company Geico following a car accident. The check was drawn from a Bank of America account, and Pittman also showed the teller his paperwork from Geico and three forms of identification: a driver's license, passport, and birth certificate. He said the teller left the window and summons an assistant manager. The assistant manager reviewed the documents and said she couldn't cash it because his name on the check did not include the third. They could have cashed that check, y'all. They could have cashed that check. That's them being petty. Okay, which is a suffix after his name, which a lot of men walk around with that. Pittman says the suffix does appear on various forms of identification and the Geico paperwork. Pittman, who said he worked in the finance industry for 19 years as a loan processor and financial advisor, suggested a fix. Just call the insurance company. No big deal. Pittman said he told the assistant branch manager. They'll verify the social security and birthday, which is on all of my stuff anyway. And on the check, it actually said for vehicle repair. And she said, no, 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 we can't. Even if we call to verify, we have no way to know that we verified. That's stupid. Yes, you do. So she was saying, even if we call it, it's really not a verification. Even if we call, that's bullshit. They just didn't want to cash it for them. You know, they don't like seeing us with a certain amount of money. They don't like it. But since they want to obstruct you from getting your banking business done, don't bank with them. I remember we had an exodus away from these banks and into black banks. We need to do that again. But Pittman said she wouldn't say why. We've notified the authorities for what? All you had to do was verify the damn check. These people ain't no good. Now do you see why America's number one in COVID? Now do you see why? You got too many petty people running everything. Frustrated, he said, he called Geico and put an insurance company representative on his cell phone speaker to speak with the assistant manager. But that only made her more suspicious, he said. She says, well, I don't know who you are. He got ID, just like anyone else in America has ID. Wow. Why don't they just say, you're black and we just don't want to cash your check? Because that's what they're really saying. You could just be one of his friends, Pittman said. At that point, Pittman said the Geico employee, who was still on the speakerphone, urged the bank assistant manager to call the insurance company 800 number and ask for her by name. She pledged to fax or email anything the bank needed to confirm Pittman was who he said he was, Pittman said. The assistant manager refused the Geico representative's suggestion and then left saying she would speak to the branch manager, Pittman said. When she came back, she said she had called the police. We've notified the authorities, Pittman said. She told him, so you're trying to steal the money from the real John Pittman. These people can't be this far gone. But then again, they were far gone from the beginning, right? Pittman said both he and the Geico representative were shocked by the statement. Then the assistant manager went further, Pittman said. She picked up another phone. Pittman said she starts talking, saying, oh, someone's here trying to steal the money from someone. Well, who's this someone? She should be made to prove who this someone is since she's making the accusation. So if it's not him, who is it? I would back her up in a corner and make her tell me, who is it then? Pittman said he was convinced that he was being singled out because he was black. I just cannot see them calling the police on every person that get a check from that doesn't have a junior or a third or whatever, he said. That doesn't make any sense. Despite this realization, Pittman took the advice of the Geico representative and left the bank rather than allow the situation to escalate. Pittman said he talked to the bank's branch manager months later and was told the assistant manager never actually called the police. She was just pretending to. So what? She was still wrong. A KPBS reporter visited the branch. So this is the Bank of America in Pacific Beach, and unsuccessfully attempted to interview both the branch manager and assistant manager. The reporter also contacted Geico representative, who said she was not authorized to comment on the incident. A Bank of America corporate spokesman confirmed that Pittman had attempted to cash the check, but said the police were never called. He went on to say that the branch manager and assistant manager followed proper procedure. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I bet you if he was anything other than a black man under the same exact circumstances, they wouldn't have had a problem cashing that check. Given the name on the check didn't match the name on his identification and the individual wasn't a Bank of America client, our team followed the bank policy and declined to cash the check during the individual's visit in January 2020, the spokesman, Bill Hallidan, told KPBS. This is standard industry practices and it's based on best practices to protect against potential fraud, racist behavior. Regardless of what might be considered standard industry practices, advocates said accusing a black customer of stealing without evidence and even pretending to call the police could be racist. It's unfortunately not uncommon for us to hear stories of racialized or racist behavior in financial institutions, said Hudson Monos, a research analyst of the Committee for Better Banks. It's a problem when the first response at any organization is to involve the police rather than to treat the customer as a truthful person, especially given materials that this person had to back up the identity. Munoz said the bank can improve how they treat customers by hiring and promoting people of color. A recent study by the Committee for Better Banks found that people of color do not get promoted as frequently as their white colleagues. Blacks, Latinos, and Asians are more likely to hold entry level jobs and remain stuck in those positions. Racial bias runs deep. Combating bias and providing diverse opportunity requires expansive policies. Okay. In 2019, the Department of Labor accused Bank of America of discriminating against Blacks, Latinos, and women who applied for jobs like sales specialists and mortgage underwriters. Federal agencies and the corporation entered into so they did a conciliation agreement, which is a settlement between regulators and an entity accused of wrongdoing. The National Committee Reinvestment Coalition found last year that banks gave Black women less information about loans than white and Hispanic women. Ed Golding, executive director of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, GOLA, Center for Finance and Banking, said race isn't the only issue that Pittman experienced. So the size of the check and the fact that Pittman wasn't a customer were also factors. But he said they don't excuse the assistant manager's alleged actions. Golding said cashing a check the size of Pittman's, which was over $10,000, triggers some scrutiny. Yeah, but she made an accusation she couldn't back up. It's just much easier to try to find either a polite or impolite way to say go away. We don't want to serve you, Golding said. It seems like in the facts of this case, it was very inappropriate way of saying go away. We don't want to serve you all. Okay. Well, he's a lawyer. So I'm sure I'm sure he's going to take some further action beyond this. And I think they realize that too. Mm-mm-mm. So Pittman said he had hoped Bank of America would apologize for refusing to cash the check and calling the police. He also asked for monetary damages, which the bank refused. He's going to take them to court. More than a year and a half later, he said he feels demoralized. It makes you feel 2 inches tall, Pittman said. It makes you feel targeted. I didn't stick around for the police to come, but I guess if I had stayed there or the police would have showed up, the situation could have gotten ugly. You're absolutely right. But yeah, banking is definitely different for us. When you have a check of a certain amount, then that always raised an eyebrow when it comes down to us. But it just doesn't seem to be that way with other people. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.